What's going on, everybody? Justin here. The Winds of Change is the channel name. Thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about FBM, what it is, what it means, when you should do it, when you shouldn't do it, just basic terminology if you're getting started. What's the difference between FBM and FBA, and some tips and tricks. I'm also going to give you an example of an item that I did FBM through Amazon and made really good profit on that I really wouldn't have been able to do if I would have done it through FBA. So let's talk about it brass tacks. FBA is fulfillment by Amazon. That means you send your products to Amazon. They deal with the storage, the packing, the customer service, all that. FBM is fulfilled by merchant. Now this is more of a traditional, what people sort of envision when they think about selling online, because a lot of people now, it is 2024, and I still see this old mentality of back like with eBay, where when you say you sell online, most people still think an eBay type system to where you're storing things, you're pulling them or having employees pull them, packing them, shipping them out, and all that kind of stuff. Most people are still in that mindset, and it blows my mind. I've been doing this for over 12 years now, so this has been around for a long time, this FBA model. Most people still think if they buy something on Amazon, it's coming from Amazon. They don't really think, hey, it's coming from me or you or another seller. So it's sort of an odd kind of thing how this happens. Let me know down below in the comments your experience, if that's what you experience as well with the thoughts, or if you've thought that. So that's what FBM is, fulfilled by merchant. It's that style of, I'm going to hold on to the stuff, I'm going to store it, I'm going to ship it out, I'm going to put it in a box, I'm going to package it up, I'm going to deal with customer service, or have an employee do it. It's going to be ran pretty much by you or your employees, or your family, or whatever, at your warehouse or your home or your basement or wherever you're at. Okay. Now, let's talk about what are some of the benefits of FBM and what are some of the downsides, because there's both. I primarily do FBA, and in my mind, it makes sense for me, but I will do FBM. Let's talk about that. Okay, let's start off talking about the benefits of FBM. Then we'll talk a little bit about the downsides, so you can make an informed decision. And then I'll give you an example of what I did recently to make some pretty good cash. So let's just start here. The benefits of FBM: can be more profitable. There are no Amazon fees. You have to take this in balance though, right? It can be more profitable sometimes. Okay, so when you sell something through fulfilled by Amazon, Amazon charges you fees. A lot of people don't like those fees, but what you don't realize is that you're still going to have to pay shipping. So with Amazon FBA, you pay shipping per pound, usually very, very cheap, like 25 cents or something, to ship multiple items to a warehouse. And then you don't pay shipping afterwards. When you ship FBM, you are going to have to pay per individual item. So you don't get that FBA fee, but you do now have to pay a lot more in shipping. However, some items, especially lightweight items, can be shipped at little to no cost compared to the FBA fees, right? So depends on what you're selling. Sometimes, like I live in the Midwest, if I have to ship something to California, a lot of times it just eats into the profit because I'm having to spend $15 instead of $6 if I'm going to send it like to the South or something like that. So it does have the option, or the availability rather, to be more profitable. You just have to make sure that you do the math on that. The other thing is there's no Amazon storage restrictions. Now here's what I mean by that. Well, a few things. One, Amazon will charge you a storage fee to have your items, to store your items. It's usually very, very negligible unless you have something there for like a long time. Then it sort of goes up. But you know, if your stuff is selling through, it's pretty negligible. It's going to be cheaper than you're going to find it anywhere else, I think, in my experience. But the storage is you're not going to have to pay for that. What I mean by storage restrictions, though, is Amazon puts certain restrictions on things that you can store at the warehouse, like hazmat. And sometimes hazmat are things that you may not think are hazmat, like sometimes different hair dyes, and stuff like that, or any kind of like aerosol can or something, you're going to have to be in their Amazon storage, hazmat storage program, and that's closed off to a lot of people. You have to apply for it. So you're not going to have to deal with that if you're selling it from your warehouse or your home or just doing FBM, because you could just ship it according to the regulations of UPS, USPS, or whatever. Another storage restriction is meltable. So you can only send in items that Amazon deems meltable during certain parts of the year. I think they cut it, I think it starts in like, I don't know, October and cuts off in April or something like that, but it runs through the fall to the spring, essentially. And during the off season, you won't be able to send meltable items into the warehouse because they're just going to melt. But you can still send them and find profit in them from your home or your warehouse, sending them through FBA. And you can package them in a bubble wrap mailer or something like that that's designed to keep things cool. And you could even throw in a little like cooler or something like that as well. And if you click on the Amazon link down below, it'll take you to my my influencer page, and you'll be able to find those items that I'm talking about as well to do that. So it's nice to be able to have that option to send meltable stuff and sort of assume the risk of it yourself, instead of having Amazon say we just won't store it for you. Another big thing is items are available sooner on the website. Now, so this is a scenario where it depends on what's going on at the time. Okay, if you have an item that's super hot or limited edition and it's selling like crazy, if you send it into FBA, sometimes it could take 2-3 weeks for Amazon to process all that. I've got stuff right now that's been in transfer so it means Amazon has it, but they're moving it around in their warehouses for like almost 3 weeks. And it is available when it's an FC transfer, but a lot of times, the shipping date that the customer's going to get it is lower, so they're not likely to buy it. So your items are going to be available right away. Another time when this might be good is during Q4, like the holidays. People are out, they're rushing to get toys. Maybe the toy that they want is not in their local store, so they're going online to get it. Okay, so a lot of times people even buy things through the year to hold on for Q4 and then ship them through Fulfilled by Merchant, because you can charge a premium, obviously, if people are out everywhere and people need it now. This is the way to go because you can have it available sooner. Okay, let's talk about the downside of FBM a little bit. There are multiple downsides to it. Okay, so we're going to do the downsides so you can make an informed decision, and I'm going to show you an example of an item that I really did well on. The downside, you have to do everything yourself or have an employee do it. So I view the FBA fee, the fee that Amazon charges you if you send it into their warehouse, as it's like an outsourcing fee, right? Because I see that as essentially I'm paying them to take care of customer service, to use their packaging materials, to box things up, package them up, to send them out, right? And to take care of all that. Okay, so that's hands off. All I got to do is find the stuff and send it to them, and then I essentially pay Amazon to take care of that. So I love that. You have to do it all yourself if you're doing FBM. So you're going to need shipping supplies, you're going to need systems of inventory management, you're going to need people or yourself or just like a lot of time to box things up, to ship them out. And it just takes a lot of time. It's a lot of in the mud, in the weeds, ground type work that, in my opinion, unless you get employees, is going to like stop you really from growing, because you're going to be doing all that instead of out there finding profitable products. So keep that in mind. You have to have shipping supplies. So depending on what you're selling, if you have a few items that are the same size and you can put them in the same size box, that's going to be great. What I do is retail arbitrage and a little bit of online arbitrage. And so I have different sized items for, like, all my things are different sizes. So I constantly need different size boxes, different kinds of packing material, different kinds of bubble wrap, poly bags, all that. So you're going to have your own shipping supplies. Shipping can be expensive. I mentioned this earlier, I think. If not, I'll say it now or say it again now. I live in the Midwest. If I'm sending something to California or the West Coast, it's going to cost a lot, like sometimes $5 or $6 more. So if you have an item that you're planning on making $5 on, but then it gets hit and you have to go to the West Coast with it, then you're going to be losing a lot of that profit. So keep that in mind. A lot of times people will forget about that, and it's just a risk you sort of have to take. FBA sellers will often get the buy box. Now, the buy box is when you go to Amazon, you see the front picture and it says buy now. There's a person or a seller attached with that buy now, and a very high percentage of people don't even look at other sellers. So they just click on buy now, and you want that buy box. FBA sellers are more likely to get that in general. Sometimes FBM sellers will, but more than likely it's going to be an FBA seller. And some people just prefer to buy FBA. When they go to Amazon, they filter by FBA and they only buy from people who are fulfilling their sales through Amazon. So it's not a guarantee, but it happens more times than not. It's hard for an FBM seller to compete with FBA. And you have to have a storage system. I mentioned this, but this is something you really want to. If you're going to scale and store things at your place of business or your home, you need to be able to find products. If somebody orders this product, you need to be able to go and find that product, which is easy if you have 10 or 15 things, not so easy if you have 100 different items. Okay, so those are the plus and minuses that I see that have been my experience. Like I said, I may do FBA. I do FBM though, if it makes sense. So let's look at this item and see why this made sense. So I got these last year. They were limited edition sandwich cookies, Oreos, and we'll take a look at the listing in a second. But this is all of them that I got, what the profit was, and why it was good. So why did I sell these FBM? For one, I had to sell them FBM because the expiration date was coming up soon. These were limited edition. It was during the winter. Amazon, I think for food, they're really sort of like ambiguous, but around I try to stay at like the 90-day with expiration of when the customer gets it. These were going bad in like 2 months. So they were like 45, 60 days, maybe 90 days out, I think. I forget exactly, but they were close to expiration. So instead of having possible month for Amazon to put them in their warehouse, these were selling now. They had a good seller rank, so I was selling them from my home. So I sold 49 of these, and units per order just means that some people ordered more than one at a time. Some people ordered like 2 4-packs or something like that. I only had one return. Shipping was $419, so it ended up being about $8.55 to ship each unit. Revenue was $1,500. And then the actual profit was $622. I spent about $4.13 each. So I spent $4 and I sold them for an average of around $33, minus the shipping and everything, $622. Now these things flew off the shelf. I probably sold all these in like a week or two. So that's pretty good, right? That's $600 I just made in a few weeks of selling these items. So let's take a look at what they were and look at some of the differences in what the profit would have been FBA versus FBM if I could have sent them in FBA. Okay, here's the item. Here's what the item was. There were these cookies. By the way, these were amazing. They were 100 calories per cookie though. I ate like 6 of them before I checked that, and I was like, oh man, there's like 600 calories down right there in 6 cookies. Anyway, they were really good. So let's look and see the price difference between FBM and FBA. And you can see here, they're like out of stock now, right? But they were up to like $47.55. Man, that's crazy. So they started off like 30-ish, and then it went all the way up to like people were selling these for like $48. They must have been expired, but maybe people just didn't complain because, you couldn't get them anywhere. So let's just say we sell them for $35. Okay, now if we sell these FBA, meaning that we send them into the warehouse, our profit is going to be around $18.28. Okay, that's not too shabby. Now, if we do these FBM, we're going to be making more. Okay, so we're going to be making $25.62. But you have to remember, you're still going to have to pay shipping. So because I've been doing this a while, I estimated shipping, but you want to go on the high side. So I'm going to recommend if you're doing this, you put shipping in about like $8 to $9. Some of these went for like $6.75. Some of them were like $10 or $11. So I ended up with about 855, but I had 9 in there to average it. So in this case, we're going to say that it's $8.55. So we're going to be making $17.07 as opposed to the $18.28 that we'd be making FBA, right? Now, the thing about that is, though, is that I couldn't sell these FBA because of the expiration date. So FBM worked perfect, and we were still about the same. Now, it's a little bit lower right here, and plus you got to take into account, you know, if you pay for boxes and stuff like that. But if you get lucky and you sell something close to you and it's 677, then you're going to be at 1885 right back, you know, equal to or a little bit more than what it would be if it was FBA. And the main difference here is that the fees change, right? So with FBA, they're going to charge you $6.21 per item to ship it out, store it, all that kind of stuff, right? FBM, from your warehouse or your home, you're not getting charged that. But it's going to be replaced by the fees that you have. And you can do shipping fees plus a box. So just say maybe it's like $9.05 or something like that. And that's how you would calculate that. So hope that cleared up some confusion if you had any. What is FBA? What is FBM? When should you maybe do it? When should you not do it? And then gave you, a concrete example of an item that I did through FBM because it was the expiration date. It would have capped out if it was an FBA. Limited edition, great seller, made $600 in a couple weeks, right? So keep in mind the fees are different. But a lot of times it'll even out sort of in the end. It just depends on how much work you want to put in to storage systems, employees, that kind of stuff. Myself, I'd rather send it off to FBA, have a chance of getting the buy box more and just pay them to deal with all that, unless it's a special circumstance like the Oreos we just looked at, that it's going to make sense for me to do it from the home or from the warehouse. So let me know, what do you do? Do you mainly do FBM? Do you mainly do FBA? If this video helped you, just let me know about it. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, sub, and until next time, I'll catch you all later.